Welcome to this October 16th edition of the Weekly Recap. I'm Matt Wacker. 52-year-old Billy Godfrey broke a local record on October 8th, but it's certainly not one to brag about. This Rolla man received 35 life prison sentences after pleading guilty in July to 35 counts of first-degree statutory sodomy. Each sentence will be served consecutively. Godfrey sexually abused 2 children between the ages of 8 and 13 during a 4-year span in the late 90s. The victims came forward in October of last year. Godfrey confessed to detectives with the Phelps County Sheriff's Department at that time. One of the victims was a relative of Godfrey. A Marine found dead on the morning of October 5th with a gunshot wound to the head has been identified as 19-year-old Lance Corporal Dominic Schraft of Vienna. According to the U.S. Marine Corps, Schraft was found in the middle of a training range at Camp Pendleton in Southern California. This incident is currently under investigation. He joined the Marine Corps in August of 2014 and served as a field radio operator. He's a 2014 graduate of Vienna High School. Marys County Sheriff Chris Heitman is asking everyone in Marys County to place yellow ribbons on their homes or place of business to show their support for Schraft. Republican gubernatorial candidate Catherine Hanaway participated in the second walk to support local law enforcement, held October 6th at Veterans Memorial Park in Rolla. Hanaway is a former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Missouri. She worked with several area law officers during her time in that position. The walk was organized by area resident Richard Skiles, who also helped lead a walk in early September from the Sheriff's Office to the Rolla Police Department. The U.S. Department of Labor hails October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month. To mark the 70th year of that observance, the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence and Fort Leonard Wood held a Disability Expo on October 6th. Arlie Mintique attended that event.
Matt, I'm here at Fort Leonard Wood at the Nutter Field House at the National Disability Employment Awareness Expo. Here with me is Jennifer Thompson. She is the director of EEO here on Fort Leonard Wood. I want to ask you, how is this expo interpreting the national theme this year, which is my disability is part of who I am? How has this expo interpreted that theme this year?
Well, we try to focus on the whole person. Unfortunately, when a person has a disability, whether it's seen or unseen, the stigma or there's a feeling that you're taking away from that person. What we want to do is to ensure that resources are available, that we provide the information for those resources so that anyone that is qualified can contribute and to ensure that we provide the assistance that's needed to overcome any type of workplace barrier.
I know that a large part of the expo is to educate. How would you say, in your experience, in what areas does the workplace need to become more aware of persons with disabilities?
Well, one thing I want to mention about disabilities is that they can either be visible or invisible, seen or unseen. A lot of times a person aren't aware that they have a disability until they can't do something, an obstacle that needs to be overcome. So with the resources that are available here today is to show, even with a disability, as long as you meet the qualifications of a job, that there are ways for you to overcome those barriers and become, again, a more productive person within the workplace.
Well, I've noticed that there's a lot of booths set up here showcasing different products and also services. How important is it to connect persons of disability with these resources?
There again, unfortunately, there is a stigma of persons with disabilities. To ensure that they are aware of the resources that are available, training opportunities that are available, again, whether it's adaptive software or hardware, something that's needed, again, to overcome any type of workplace barrier, I just think it's very important. Not only for the soldiers that are transitioning to civilian life, but let's talk about someone that is born with a disability or someone that could have an accident. You could step outside, slip, fall, and be disabled. So there again, with the services that are offered and that are available, just letting everyone know that your part, your role is important and it's vital, and doing everything that we can to take advantage of the talent that's out there.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thompson. Matt, you heard it here first. Back to you.
A federal grand jury has indicted a Rolla man on several charges of fraud involving the trade of foreign currencies. The indictment alleges that 55-year-old Daniel Steele solicited more than $2 million from at least 24 investors. Steele was indicted on 1 felony count of mail fraud, 4 felony counts of wire fraud, and 2 felony counts of engaging in unlawful monetary transactions using criminally derived property. Steele is accused of spending investor funds on himself and his family, including the purchase of 2 different vehicles at a total cost of nearly $100,000. Steele also allegedly generated false reports for investors that reflected returns that he never achieved. Despite his promises, Steele invested only a fraction of the money in foreign currency markets. If convicted, Steele could face significant jail time. Architects and engineers are drawing detailed plans for a near 27,000 square foot addition to the west side of Rolla High School. A pair of principal architects from firms in St. Louis presented a site plan at the Rolla Board of Education's October 1st meeting. The addition will make room for 9th grade students to move from Rolla Junior High to RHS beginning in August of 2017. The expansion will allow more room for classrooms, a wrestling practice room, administrative offices, restrooms, and storage. 12 classrooms are needed, as well as a new practice room for the wrestling team. The RHS annex will be demolished. The main entrance of RHS will move from the Cedar Street side to the south side of the addition. According to West Plains Superintendent John Mulford and School Board President Jimmy Thompson, feedback for a proposed April 6th ballot measure to receive a tax levy on the construction of a new senior high school has been mostly positive. The $22.5 million in renovations would be paid for with a 95-cent tax rate increase. That amount would support the construction of the new facility, restructure grade levels at all buildings, hire up to 8 new teachers to reduce class sizes, and add additional classroom space. We'll have more details as they're announced. 2 men from the state of California are behind bars after a traffic stop on Interstate 44 led to the discovery of 42 pounds of illegal narcotics. These 2 men, both from Huntington Park, California, were arrested for first-degree drug trafficking after 17 pounds of heroin and 25 pounds of cocaine were found within a fabricated compartment inside the vehicle's dashboard. Bond has been set at $750,000 each. It just became more difficult for suspected drunk or drug drivers in Phelps County to refuse a breathalyzer test. That's because a new protocol known as no refusal allows law enforcement officers to seek search warrants for blood samples if they believe drivers are drunk or under the influence of drugs. According to Phelps County Prosecuting Attorney Brendan Fox, whenever someone refuses to give a breath sample, officers can immediately make an application for a search warrant to draw their suspect's blood, providing for better evidence in prosecution. Being a no-refusal county also allows law enforcement officers to focus on establishing a probable cause, shortens their investigation times, and gets the officers back out on the road to catch more drunk drivers. Of course, a good way to avoid all of this is to simply drive sober. The final regular season Ozark Conference Game of the Week takes place in Rolla on October 16th. The 7-1 West Plains Zizzers will make the trip up Highway 63 to face the Bulldogs on senior night. This one is full of district playoff implications, so be sure to tune in at 7 p.m. That's it for now. I'm Matt Wacker. I'll see you right back here next week for another edition of the Weekly Recap.